With DreamWorks' The Bad Guys 2 out, it's time to see where our favorite, mostly reformed criminals end up on the morality spectrum after the sequel.
So you want to work at a bank?
This is The Bad Guys 2 characters good to evil. Now, everybody deserves a second chance, so let's take a look at the characters who made the most out of theirs. These characters are the good. But this time around, we had to give Mr. Wolf the gold medal of good, to get his questionable traits out of the way. Aside from the obvious serial criminal gang leader thing, Mr. Wolf can be pretty vicious, as we saw in the first scene of the sequel where he absolutely terrifies that Egyptian billionaire guy. But while startling a corrupt, greedy official isn't particularly good, it isn't anywhere near bad enough to detract from the heroism the big, not-so-bad Wolf shows. During his time in prison and applying for jobs, Mr. Wolf remains as positive and respectful as he can.
So you want to work at a bank?
Why not? Some of my best memories are at banks.
Always being understanding of the people's hesitance to give him and his buddies a chance, in an effort to earn the public's favor. He ends up helping his former nemesis Commissioner Luggins, capture the mysterious Phantom Bandit. When he's framed and forced into pulling one last heist with the head honcho herself, he still comes up with a way to do good by exposing her crimes. That's not to mention that the only reason he was convinced to help with their heist in the first place was Kitty's threat to expose the truth of Diane's identity as the Crimson Paw, proving that he's not only a deeply compassionate person, but someone who's truly learned to place others' needs before his own. Tack on the fact that he was fully willing to risk his life to stop Kitty's plan, and you've got a guy who's more than earned a good tail wagger too. He'll have plenty more opportunities to do good as an agent of Izglop, which really does sound made up, almost like it's a fictional secret agent unit rather than an actual one. Wait a minute. But while Wolf is our top pick this time around, Diane Foxington is a close second, and no less impressive than she was in the first movie. She's revealed to still be friends with Wolf a while after his release from prison, providing companionship and emotional support so he won't get discouraged trying to find a better path in life. Regrettably for Diane, she got one of the less happy endings in the movie, with Kitty Cat revealing her past as a notorious thief. Her reputation was destroyed and she was forced to step down as governor. While that isn't good, we won't take any points away from her for this, for two reasons. The first is that she primarily became the governor as a means to protect the people and do good. And the second is that she was fully willing to confess her past at the end of the first movie, only for Wolf to stop her and save her reputation for a little while at least. Governor or not, she's doing a lot more good than bad, even fighting the bad girls 1 against 3, and ultimately helping Wolf take Kitty Cat down during the final scene. And the bronze medal of good goes to the character we'd argue has improved the most since the first movie, which surprisingly isn't even one of the bad guys. It's Commissioner Luggins. Credit where it's due, really. Luggins went not just from chief to commissioner, but from a callous officer who wanted to put the bad guys away out of spite and a huge ego, to a woman willing to work with her mortal enemies for the greater good. It was admirable of Wolf and the gang to offer so much insight into the nature of the Phantom Bandit, but it would have been all for nothing if Luggins hadn't actually listened to him, ultimately teaming up and helping them take him down. The tears of betrayal she shed when the bad guys were framed for stealing the Lucha Libre belt shows just how hard she had to push herself to work with them. Even after all of her anger though, she really came through for the gang in the third act, transporting them via helicopter to the bad girl's stolen rocket just in time, possibly jeopardizing both her career and her life. On top of that, if they'd arrived a second later, they wouldn't have been able to reach the rocket. So if you ask us, Luggins was arguably the MVP of the entire movie, and she definitely cemented herself as a good cop. It's because of her that the bad guys, and Diane, were able to secure a new career as secret agents too. So whatever the next title after commissioner is, I say she's earned it. She's nowhere near as impressive as Luggins, but news reporter Tiffany Fluffit deserves a mention here as well. She's probably the closest thing the series has to a fully neutral party, and while she does sometimes seem more interested in being the first of the scene than anything else, she's doing important work by keeping the public informed about current events. The worst we could say about her is that she tends to jump to conclusions rather quickly, which leads to her also writing people off pretty quickly. Even so, she doesn't mean any harm. We'll just give her a light Darwin Sinner medal and move on. A spider with a voice you've no doubt heard in a ridiculous amount of places by now, Miss Tarantula is next. She's one of the most fun characters to watch, with brilliant hacking expertise and 8 legs capable of showing it off. While she can sometimes sometimes be a bit prideful about her skills. Well, A, we can't say that's totally unwarranted, and B, it never leads to her being outright mean-spirited or anything. She's just a girl who's good at what she does, and knows it. Despite being the youngest of the bad guys, she's one of their most valuable members, acting both as a great support teammate and a great friend. Next to Mr. Wolf, she also seems to be the least violent and impulsive of the group, which earns her a few more brownie points. And I'm sure we could all appreciate having a friend who could turn every traffic light green for us, so maybe we're just a little biased towards her. And another one of the more likable characters in the series is Mr. Shark, the sharp-toothed softie who acts as both the muscle and the disguise expert of the group. His plans are often impulsive and almost never subtle. But he does get the job done and always has his friends' best interests in mind. Whether he's playing a Southern Baptist wedding officiant or a totally respectful portrayal of an Italian florist, he's definitely got a creative mind. Shark's worst trait is his short fuse, which can either lead to occasional outbursts of anger, usually towards Snake, who, to be honest, is always asking for it, or outbursts of panic. But like his insane improv skills, even these tend to inexplicably do more good than bad. And given how nice he is as a good guy, we have to keep him firmly in the good section. And last and honestly least in the good section is Maureen, Diane's assistant, or former assistant, rather. No disrespect or anything to her, but she's already the least impressive character in this category. Whereas the other heroes are involved with doing global scale good on some level, she's more or less just playing the role of a secretary. That might sound harsh, but Maureen herself is pretty harsh to Mr. Wolf, a guy who's actively trying to change his ways. She's a law-abiding citizen and seems to have a mostly good heart, and for all we know, Mr. Wolf could have been responsible for a crime that impacted her, so maybe her bitterness is more valid than you'd think at first glance. Either way, she only stays out of our next category because she doesn't have enough bad traits to land there. This is the gray area. To kick off this category, we have to mention the Lucha Libre legend, Handsome Jorge. He may only play a small role, but it's certainly an impactful one. When the bad guys determine that the Phantom Bandit will strike his prize championship belt next, they meet Handsome Jorge head on, but only briefly, since a new challenger approaches and essentially tosses this dude out like a fake-out final boss. He may have lost his precious belt, but Handsome Jorge can take comfort in a Pride Center medal for the sheer aura he emits, even going as far as to look in the mirror during his match. Next up is the last guy you'd want to be nervous on any level, Mr. Piranha. As the loose cannon of the group, he specializes in, being a loose cannon. Yeah, I'm not really sure how else to put that. The guy is just crazy and proud of it. He gets the group into a lot of trouble with his antics, like more trouble than usual, but he'll always do his best to get them out of it. A prime example is the infamous astronaut suit scene where he accidentally almost suffocates Snake with nervous farting, only to purposefully save his life by stabbing a small hole in the suit, propelling them back to the ship Wall-E style and enabling the less unhinged bad girls to pull them back to safety. Snake and Piranha would both be dead without him, and we think that mostly makes up for the latter's threats to rip Snake apart limb from limb, even though he doesn't have limbs. We still have to give him the Wrath Center medal though, because what the actual heck, man. Now to round out the main bad guys, we have Mr. Snake. Mr. Snake has become a way more laid-back guy after the first movie, mainly thanks to his newfound love with Susan. He picks up new hobbies, works on improving himself constantly, and even picks up a taste for girly pop music, which granted isn't really a moral thing, but it shows that he's certainly willing to change. Like the other bad guys, he doesn't hesitate to protect Diane's reputation or the world, and there's one scene in particular that really impressed us. When Kitty Cat's words make Mr. Wolf briefly doubt his decision to go good, it's Mr. Snake of all people who encourages him that things will be different once they prove their innocence. Like a true best friend, he kept Wolf from making a mistake that would have ruined the second chance he'd been given, which earned him a ton of respect in our book. And hey, he may be lower than his buddies, but he has more center medals than any of them, and that's after some serious character growth. He gets the Gluttony Center medal for his serious affinity for eating guinea pigs. Yes, specifically guinea pigs. But he has grown a lot, at least. He went from impulsively eating hundreds of guinea pigs he was supposed to rescue to being nice enough to ask a kid on the subway before eating his pet. Honestly, what a nice guy. And he also gets the Lust Center medal for his romance with Susan, aka Doom, not excluding that lovely kissing scene. He sees all the red flags, but red just happens to be his favorite color. The bad girl's muscle, Pigtail, is next. Being a huge fan of the bad guys, it's not surprising that she comes off as the nicest of the antagonists. She can be vicious in combat, as we saw with the aforementioned Lucha Libre incident, but generally she's pretty welcoming to the new, albeit unwilling recruits. While she's willing to go far with Kitty Cat's plans, which docks her a lot of points, even she acknowledged when things went too far, and while she didn't betray Kitty, she didn't help her with potentially destroying the world. She even helped save Snake and Piranha's lives, alongside Doom, so we think she has a lot of potential for a redemption arc. And while she's done worse things than Pigtail, the same can be said for Doom, the last character in our gray area. She has all of the crimes and merits of Pigtail, respectively her affiliation with Kitty Cat and her acknowledgement that she's gone too far at a certain point. We have to give her extra points on that note, since she was the only one who actually called Kitty out when the gold magnet could have potentially killed Snake and Piranha. That said, even if Snake is the kind of dude who's into red flags, manipulating someone into a relationship only for the sake of recruiting them onto your criminal team is pretty low, even for a criminal. Regardless of the fact that they developed genuine feelings for each other, that's the kind of thing that could destroy someone's outlook on love for a lifetime, which only narrowly keeps her out of the final category. And with that said, it's time for us to move on to the bottom three. These are the bad and evil characters. The bronze medal of evil goes to Mr. Moon, who's frankly more of a plot device than a character, being the owner of the rocket Kitty and the gang are trying to steal. But if anything, that reflects how one-dimensional this guy really is. He earns the Greed Sinner medal for the sheer fact that he wears AI-powered glasses that determine whether someone is worthy of speaking to him based on their wealth. He's so callous that he has his security guards escort his own aunt out of his wedding since she doesn't have enough wealth to exploit. He's a real scumbag, but since he's only passively trying to destroy the world, we have to rank him as slightly better than our final two. Which brings us to the silver medal of evil, which has to go to the main antagonist of the sequel, Kitty Cat. But first, this video is brought to you by WickedBinge channel memberships. You can gain access to our videos early before anyone else, plus get members-only emojis and loyalty badges by supporting the channel through a membership, which I'm pretty sure is the second cat villain in a row for DreamWorks. Unlike Petey though, Kitty is not eager for a redemption arc. We were wondering if she was for a moment. She does seem to be delusioned with her role in society, having been told via social cues from a young age that she wasn't one of the good guys. But that sadly led her to a life of crime, preferring to be respected out of fear rather than not at all. The ultimate result is a reckless plan to draw all of the Earth's gold into outer space with a huge space magnet, which could have potentially killed countless people, a sacrifice she was very willing to make. She's also reckless with the few people she cares about, threatening doom point blank when she even begins to question her ruthlessness. The only good thing we can say about Kitty so far is that she does seem to have some honor, shown by her insistence on posting the truth about Diane's past online, per her agreement with Professor Marmalade. But this was after agreeing not to do this if the bad guys helped her on her next heist. So yeah, it's kinda null and void, really. But as bad as Kitty is, we could at least see her potentially turning her life around. Professor Marmalade though, yeah, this guy is definitely a lost cause. He was already the most evil in the first movie, but in the second, he mellowed out. Except for his workout regimen, which was not mellowed out. Except maybe on leg day. You'd be forgiven for thinking Marmalade was working on himself in prison, but in actuality, the events of the movie were all part of his plot to expose Diane's criminal misdeeds to the world and free himself. If you think we're reaching by calling him worse than the girl who literally tried to destroy the world just as a power move, look no further than the post-credit scene, where Marmalade goes from panicking to laughing maniacally, revealing that he even planned to be launched into space in his golden car. Seriously, literally everything in this movie was somehow a part of his plan. Like he's All For One from My Hero or something. Actually, All For One probably checks under his bed for this guy. His one good deed is getting us hyped for an eventual third movie, because whatever he's planning, it's gonna be as unhinged and evil as the guinea pig himself. What I'm trying to say is, Mr. Snake, please save your appetite. The Earth might depend on it.